Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to episode 30 of Subject to Change.
30.
Episode 30.
Hot damn.
It's a big milestone. Happy to be here. We are back with the boy Detox.
The boy Detox is in the house.
Actually, they're in my house. Welcome to TBD HQ.
That is correct. We have ventured out of Sydney, out of Bondi,
We're in Wollongong.
to Wollongong.
The W.
The Gong.
I don't know what anyone thinks, but it's like there's loads of stuff here, like ATMs, there's shops, there's
You've got a phone booth.
there's
Yeah, phone booth.
There's loads
Mad.
of stuff.
Mad. Loving it.
Civilization at its finest.
But Jess's apartment is lovely.
It is very nice.
Lovely. I can see why you've moved down here.
We were talking about this before, the fact that you don't have a TV as your centrepiece, and loads of people do when it comes to an apartment. You've got books and a bookshelf and cool
Pictures.
alcohols.
And naked people.
You've done that
on your coffee table.
strategically.
It shows my values, right? Reading
Naked people.
and drunken Polaroid photos.
Did you make that decision when you moved in? You were like, I'm specifically choosing not to have a TV as like the centrepiece.
Yeah, when I moved into the apartment in Waterloo, which is where I lived previously, before I moved to Bermagui, there was no TV and I didn't mind. I just liked silence in the lounge room.
that.
It's like reading books.
Some people can't really handle the silence either.
Just mean you've got to like converse.
Like talk to people.
Trust me, like when I bought this couch, people will come over to my house, they sit on this couch and secrets come out. I don't know what
Stuff
it is.
comes out.
It's like,
Hopefully that happens today in the
Valium.
I'm
episode.
sure it will.
But before we start, as usual, please rate us.
Please rate us.
Please like us.
Please like us.
Please subscribe to us
Please subscribe to us.
on whatever platform you decide to listen. So if that's
YouTube,
Spotify, give us 5 likes.
5 likes.
5 stars, should I say. If you're on YouTube,
If you're on YouTube,
subscribe
subscribe
and like.
and like.
If you're on Apple,
Apple,
like,
like,
stop it.
subscribe
subscribe
and comment.
and comment.
And if you're on TikTok, we hate you in all your comments. But they're funny.
Let's
They're funny.
let's take 10 seconds and allow them
And
to...
yes, and we're going to give you 10 seconds to do what you need to do in order to make sure our podcast gets to the top of the list and
Moment of
everyone's
silence,
pages.
please.
Thank you very much
Awesome,
for doing
thank
that.
you, appreciate it. We're appreciating the lights coming in from that, I'm sure.
Thank you very much, Jessica, the boy Detox, for sitting down to us once again. This is
You're
their third
welcome.
time with us.
I think the last time you were on, it was episode 13?
Something like that.
13,
I feel like
14.
a lot of things have changed.
Loads of things
A lot
have changed.
of things have changed.
Loads of things
A lot of things have changed. That laugh. Oh my goodness.
Anyway,
But yes, a lot has changed since then. You've moved to Wollongong. Yeah, what else has changed?
Yeah, I was doing some reflecting this morning and I was like,
You weren't really dating the last time we were doing this.
not dating at all.
Yeah.
But I thought, oh no, I haven't really done that much. But I realised I moved to Sydney. I bought an apartment. I moved to Wollongong. I'm now consulting on a dating app. And there's a
Congrats.
lot of things that are kind of changing and shifting, even though I don't feel like it's happening really fast.
You're just probably like that busy. You don't even like notice how much shit you're doing.
Oh, yeah, and I got a second job. Shout out to Lulu. I love you.
Grafting.
I'm the door
I
bitch.
hope it's not the same.
it's definitely not that one.
It's definitely not.
Definitely not that one.
That's funny. So you mentioned that dating app. It's called Out There Dating.
Yep, that's right.
Talk to me about it, because as far as I'm aware, it's not like your normal ass Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. So
That's no.
Yeah, okay, so
enlighten me.
I was approached by the developers of Out There to be their dating expert, which is super exciting. But there's 2 points of difference with Out There. And the first point of difference is it's based on compatibility matching. So when you make a profile, you go through a personality quiz, which is based on deeper issues, like deeper personality attributes and your values. So you're matched on those things rather than just the aesthetic based.
Looks, yeah.
Yeah, which we're used to from your standard apps. So that's the first thing, and I helped design that quiz, which is cool.
Where did you get the ideas for that, like, for the quiz, for, like, the specific points?
Just from doing what I do, you know, and knowing how important compatibility is to dating if you want some sort of longevity.
Yeah.
So that's one point. But then the other thing is, like the second point of difference, which I'm really excited about, is it's location based. So you can go to, say you're going to Ravisi's for a night out, and you can check into the location and the app will tell you these people that you're compatible with are in the building. So Monica's here, Charlie's here, Charmaine is here. Charmaine.
Wait, is that going to come through if it just, the construct? Okay, cool. Yeah, sweet.
So they're all here, and the app actually prompts you to go and say hello. But the idea is you get 5 or 6 messages. So you actually go and say, let me buy you a drink, meet me upstairs. So it's in real life
That's
dating,
cool.
which is so different to what we're used to with our kind of normal apps like Bumble and Tinder, where we sit on the couch and swipe and have 2 or 3 messages back and forth and don't get anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm really excited about for it.
Sounds good. It sounds interesting. It sounds like, what would you say are like the key? So if you look at, in terms of like the questions you're asking, what's like an example of, can you give like one of the questions?
Yeah,
like, what's an
give you a
example?
question. So how would you what's your ideal weekend? Would you prefer to do Netflix and chill, exercising, socializing with friends, creating
Fair.
something extra work?
That's
So
sick.
out of those, you can see what your values are, like ambition is a value, or creativity is a value, or social life is a value. So it kind of like divvies you up around that.
I like it. Am I allowed to hold this, by the way, over here? I know this is your lovely couch. It's
Yeah,
condensation
just
on the couch. I
don't,
don't want to.
don't
I know. This
spill
is
it.
like your pride
Like,
and joy.
why are you gonna hold it there? Just put
No,
it
no,
somewhere
no, no.
else.
It's just because I'm here like this. I'm sitting here like this. I'm like, I keep thinking, I'm like, fuck, I do not want to fuck this couch.
It's like most
This
people
is
would
the-
just like not do it and just set it on the coaster like an
No,
adult.
it's gonna have to keep leaning over. I'm like,
That is not even inconvenient. Who are you?
oh, you know what I mean?
This is like the typical Westerner. There's like literally any inconvenience. Just like, oh, can I just soak your couch? Can I sook your velvet couch?
Is
Because
this-
Can we
It's-
fuck
do you know
on your
what?
couch?
Yeah.
No.
Here,
can I soak your velvet couch? I can't be bothered leaning forward to set it on a table.
Here we go. I'm gonna hold it the whole
No
time.
fluids go on this
Oh
couch.
my goodness
There we
gracious
go.
me.
There we go.
So
Perfect.
do you have like a timeline on when you think the app's going to launch, kind of, I guess, in the Sydney? Because obviously it's launched now in St Kilda
Yep.
in Victoria.
Yep, so we're doing beta testing in St Kilda. I was down there last weekend, which was super fun. And it's only just available on Android from, I think, yesterday. So, I know, but
So gross.
now it should spread pretty quickly. It should
Okay.
go like full
Spread
Melbourne
like
and
chlamydia.
then Sydney.
I really like that concept for sure. It kind of like completely takes out that long ass conversation that you have 3, 4, 5 days with someone you've matched with, where you're kind of like, so we're gonna go on a date. Okay, we'll go next week. Then you're trying to figure out that happy medium between
Yeah.
how much do I talk to this person until we meet up, because you don't want to talk about everything that you do in the first date. So like that literally just cuts out all that bullshit.
Yeah, and I can tell you, even from being in venues last weekend in Melbourne and telling people about the app, like being in person with people makes such a big difference. And they were so they were interested because they were like, "Oh, you're the founder, you're the expert. Let me download it now." So that in person thing really works.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, today we'll be delving deep.
Oh, I'm excited.
We'll be uncovering. It'll be good to get.
A lot
It'll
of
be good to get
stuff.
a women's point of view on a lot of things
Yeah,
today, because
there's some-
we've
That's what
been
I'm here for.
we've been dying for that.
I've been slagged off a lot on TikTok because they think I'm just coming from like a male's perspective, but it isn't. The statements are like gender fluid, but it's like I'd be interesting to have your takes while the people are like, oh, that's a woman's perspective as well. It's not just like coming from a man.
But
'Cause
to be fair, you are a male and you are allowed an opinion as a
yeah,
male.
but a lot of people like discredit us, and it's the whole like take.
Nah,
the
discredit
mics
you.
or- Discredit me. they discredit our opinions because I'm the one saying it. But it's this whole like take the mic away from men, and it's like, well, what I'm saying
It's
isn't.
just a massive TikTok trend
It's
at the
coming
moment.
from a male, but the situation isn't about a male. It's about like the situation between people. Because it's coming from a male, it's like, oh, this is just a male's opinion. It's like, well, it's a lot more.
And I think a lot of the issues with the comments that we get in TikTok is a few of them, or like it comes from like a triggered point of view. Like people hear you say about, I guess, the libido thing, or they talk about the girlfriend experience and stuff like that. And I guess when people comment, it does seem to come across from that. And I actually responded to someone on TikTok, and then she kind of like wrote 2 comments in response saying, well, my experience, this happened to me with this guy. And I'm like, so you haven't even listened to what he said. You're just like listening to respond instead of listening to understand.
Yeah.
This
You know
is
what I
the
mean?
problem, because people are always saying from my experience, and that doesn't really, like, an opinion doesn't really qualify
Yeah.
you. It's just an opinion.
And,
Yeah,
if
exactly.
people are like, well, from my own experience, it's like, well, you're only talking from an experience that
Exactly.
you
You
delved
had,
into.
yeah.
It's like when I'm saying something that's coming from like I've spoke to many different people, and this is just like a potential
He's
theory.
a science database.
Yeah, he loves
Yeah.
research.
Yeah.
He loves research.
I do a lot. Of,
Every single opinion Dan has is from solid research. He never just speaks and thinks it's facts.
Why
Yeah.
would I do that?
Yeah.
Nah.
But that's true though. Like a lot of it does come from the experience. And like I said, everyone's experience is gonna differ. So your opinion on a certain topic is gonna differ. So just because you've come out and said this about libido or girlfriend experience, whatever, and that's been experienced because from your experience you communicated your expectations and the outcome of that the situation was great. Where someone else would come in these comments like, you can't keep treating women like this and using them for this. I was like, that's because your experience was the fact that you probably didn't communicate
Yeah,
your
100%.
expectations. And now whenever you hear this thing about a situationship or girlfriend experience, you have a negative connotation towards it because of
100%.
that. But then we're sitting here thinking, well, ours has been great because
Yeah.
we didn't have any bullshit. We just said this is what it is.
Yeah.
And both parties left fine.
Everything is coloured by our own perceptions and experience. Everything.
Some woman recently
Everything.
commented, she was like, why don't you just get therapy, sort your shit out, and then date like a normal
I know.
person?
I was just
I was
like,
that's such
that's,
a like
that's too, such an intense
that's such
comment.
an ignorant. I think that's just an ignorant comment. It's like that's just discrediting every person who maybe just wants to casually date without wanting something serious.
Yeah.
Like that's not like dating isn't like a one suit fits all. We live in a world now where things are spoken about more publicly, whether it's like, you're in an open relationship or casual dating, or you've got like, what's the other one where it's like you can have many different relationships? Polyamorous. You've got, there are so many different types, and just to be like, just date like a normal person, it's like, that's
There's
like,
no normal.
do you know what I mean?
There's no more normal.
Actually, being that normal is small-minded.
Yeah, but anyway, usually it's people coming from like a lot of like butthurt situations, and that's just usually what it is, So,
Speaking of experiences,
oh god,
what has your experience been like
On the dating landscape.
in the
Tell
dating
me,
landscape?
Dish. I want to know.
Let's go to you, Jess.
Oh, it's going to me
thank
first.
God for that.
I actually
oh my god,
You just calm down. Jesus.
you just staring at me and then went, so to you, Jess. I'm like, fucking hell.
I actually have updates. Like, it's not Spice City, but
Yeah.
Okay.
last time I was with you guys, it was like
There's none-
it
there's
was
tumbleweeds.
right?
Yeah,
So I'm going to say that 2022 has been kinder to me than 2021. And to be fair, I was living in like a very remote location in 2021. So I've moved back to Sydney / the W. But there's been different things going on. But the thing that I've noticed and that I've relearned is that going out makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
And this is big for me to say because I'm an introvert and I work every weekend. So I've worked every weekend since New Year's Eve. I think I've been out 4 times since the start of the year.
That's upsetting.
Every single time.
same as us.
Every single time I've been out, and once was to the beach with you guys, I've made some sort of connection.
Yeah.
I can't say with any certainty that the connections have gone anywhere, but there's still been
A connection's a connection, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good or bad one.
And I've been like pleasantly surprised about how good and how refreshing it is to go out and see people in person, because there's a serendipity to it. You might talk to somebody that you would never swipe right on, and then you have an interesting conversation and you're kind of captivated by them, and you're like, oh, yeah, okay, maybe I would go to Mexico with you tomorrow. Like, like...
That sounds lovely.
There's just...
What's going on in our conversations? Mine's like, do you want to go to Ravises?
I had a guy say, run away with me last week, and I was like, oh, that's the sexiest thing anybody's ever said to me.
Is it that easy?
Damn.
I'm going to start typing that. Run away with me tomorrow.
Oh my god,
Move.
can I just say that?
That is a good move. But yeah, every single time I've been out, something's happened. I've made a connection, and it's all been
That's
accidentally.
awesome.
I don't go out hunting.
It feels nicer when it happens like authentically and you're out and about and you're just like...
Well, and I don't have the time to go out hunting. Like, I've barely seen my friends, so when I go out, it's just like I'm going out to have a good time.
Yeah.
And if something happens along the way, it does. But every time I've done that, something's happened. So it's been fun. But I have had, interesting experiences from it.
You definitely have.
Don't know if you want me to elaborate on that now, or
You know
if
who
that's
you are.
topic 2 or topic 8. Not sure.
What I do want to talk about is, because this can happen quite a bit whenever you're messaging someone.
Yeah.
how sexual are you allowed to be in conversations?
Oh, this is a great segue for where I
Yeah.
was going.
Yeah.
Like how, like what is too much? And definitely, if someone's listening to this, please drop into our DMs once you've listened to this part of the topic. Like, what is too much for you when it comes to being overtly sexual via text messages to someone that you've, I guess, or courting?
Can I just say?
Go on, go for it.
Can I just say that women apologize? I'm not speaking for all women, but like generalizing, we develop like a cognitive dissonance to men being like, because we get it a fair bit, like replies to stories like, I want to see you use that vibrator on yourself, like
Oh my
that kind of
Lord.
stuff. You hear it so often that you like, next, like it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't
It's like
ignite.
it's like the market's saturated. Like you get it that much, you're just like 5 other people have already said this
Yeah.
kind
Well,
of thing.
it's just also it's so unoriginal. It doesn't even.
I think it's more.
Nothing's happening in the pants area.
Yeah.
I think it's more like it's quite obvious that like if someone messages you, they clearly like, well, they potentially want to fuck, but it's like if all they come with is just overt conversations like that, it takes away from like the experience of building momentum, and it
Yes.
feels like that person only has like one trait to them, and it's like a one-track mind of go from not knowing you to can I fuck you as soon as possible.
Yeah, and that's
it's-
not a personality trait.
That's
Yeah,
not a personality
exactly.
trait, and it's like
But also, I will say that women are, generally speaking, stimulated mentally and
yeah,
emotionally.
100%.
So that overt sexual approach just misses the mark. It just
Yeah.
falls so far below the mark. You want to be able to stimulate somebody on a different level and show that you understand them or empathize them or appreciate them or admire them before you go down there.
I do find the best sex that you do have is when there is some sort of stimulation outside just the physical as well.
Definitely.
I'm sure we can all speak from experience that whenever we have an emotional or intellectual connection with someone, and there's also that physical attraction, the sex is like 10 times better. I'm a virgin, mum, if you're listening. I'm just speaking from what I've been told from research.
From
you know what I
like
mean?
books and posts
From
and
books,
Twitter,
yeah. I read a lot now,
I
so
mean, I've never had transactional sex, but if I had I would know that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
So I've
waiting
been
for
told.
marriage, yeah, I'm waiting
But
for marriage.
but yeah, like whenever there is that connection, the sex is always better. So going back that overt thing and like being overly sexual, even if by some chance you do end up sleeping with that girl that you're being overtly sexual towards, there's a good chance that it's not going to be as good as you expected it to be.
It can fizzle as
Yeah.
well because it's like it's just been leading.
You're just
to
like
the
you do it and then you're done. You're just like,
Other
oh,
thing that
it's done
happens is
now.
guys talk big game. So
Oh,
they'll
yeah,
talk.
and
They'll be like, "I'm
never talk big
I'm
game.
this good at
I'm
this
gonna
Ever.
tie
pussy,
you down and
I'm this, that, and
fucking-
the other," and then you get them in bed and they're like, and they're silent. This has happened to
I
me
don't think
before.
I have.
like that
I have
TikTok.
never talked big game because I don't want to talk big game and end up literally underachieving.
You're
I
like,
keep
I
my.
cannot
happened to me
wait.
I
before,
move
it
in
is so
silence.
Well, that's why
Leave
it's
in
like
silence.
I cannot wait to give you the best 30 seconds of
move
your
in
life.
silence.
Just be like, I can't wait to give you the best 30 seconds because that means if you do more than that, it's a fucking win-win.
Yeah.
Don't
But
overestimate.
just don't
Never.
say.
Never.
It's like that TikTok where it's like, I want to fuck you in 7, and he's like, and then
I
it's
want to
like,
fuck you in 7 positions, but
1 minute later,
man.
man.
yeah. I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. When someone's like, oh, I'm going to tie you down, do this, and it's just like some mediocre, plain, placid,
Yeah, but then you
just
get-
dead fish sex.
You get into this thought like, because this happened to me recently recently as well, when I got into like quite a sexual conversation where I was turned on by it because it was covert. It was like, went under the radar. But then you get into this frame of mind where you're like, is he just doing this as a game? Like, is it just a pen
Yeah, there's
pal
like
thing?
banter.
Is
Yeah.
this like a sexting thing? Because to me, it's like, well,
As in, like, he
if
doesn't
you
want any
want to
intent?
do it,
Oh, right.
Yeah.
that it's only gonna excite me for like maybe
For
a
so
week
long.
afterwards.
Yeah,
and then I'm
you
bored.
want to you don't want to like constantly be doing this sexual texting
If
thing.
you're not going to do anything about it, then
Quit
bye.
wasting my time. Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
true.
It's like the point of like, you're on like a momentum, and then it just eventually will just plateau, and then you're like, it needs to get to a point where if you're going to keep bringing someone, you have to then eventually close it and be like, well, now's the time. We're now gonna,
Is there a point where what would allow for a guy to be able to kind of slide into your DMs and be sexual towards you? What would be okay?
Well, so recently I had an experience where I met a guy and like we had good chat when I met him, and then he continued to talk to me, and it was completely above board, like nothing untoward, like nothing sexual. And then one night did become sexual accidentally, and that was okay. It was like kind of subtle.
Yeah. Just
So-
over text. This is over DMs.
Yeah, over
Okay.
DMs, and it was hot. But after the fact, it was still hot afterwards. I appreciated it for what it was, but then my brain is like, well, are we going to do something about this or not?
Yeah.
Like actions, not just do we just do that, like the talking stuff for no reason, or are you actually going to do those things that you said? So
Did you say this thing, or was this in your head?
I said, I
Oh,
literally
yeah, she said.
said,
Okay, good woman.
I won't say what I said, but I literally said,
Am I
If
gonna
you
sit in your
wanna-
face or what?
pretty much, I said that. I said, if you
Waste of
want
my
to
time?
I believe that if you want to make this happen, you will.
Yeah. You know what I think? I think there's like a level where being overly sexual is accepted if there is that relationship
Yeah.
with that girl. Like, there's girls I've like slept with for a period of time, and I know if they put up a story being all sexy and shit, if I was to say something sexual, they would be fine with it because like we have built up that rapport and that relationship.
Momentum.
Yeah, and that
Yeah,
momentum, like we've been
100%.
sleeping with each other for whatever length of time. So if I was to slide in and say something filth, like they would be okay with it. But I would like, for the love of God, if I was to like just start talking to a girl
Yeah.
and she put up something like really sexual, I wouldn't slide in saying something absolutely ridiculous.
Nah.
I'd say like, oh, you look good, or that's sexual, that's hot, but I wouldn't say, oh, please come around and sit in my face right now.
Or like, can you
Yeah.
get or
You know
can
what I
you get
mean?
hooked on fucking me, please? Thanks.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I hate you. Oh my lord.
Oh, that's
Shout out.
But yeah, I think it's just always understanding the relationship that you have with that person to know what and what isn't okay. And I think if you have a doubt if it's okay or if it's not okay, then you just shouldn't do it. Like, if I message this, do I feel like she'll be like a bit
I
iffy?
think you also have to have a level of like, would you call it emotional intelligence?
Yes.
To just understand the situation and be like,
words.
have we had any of that conversation?
Mm-hmm.
If we haven't, I'd need to build it from like a 0 to a 1 to a 3, not go from 0 to 10 of like, you put a picture, let's fuck. You're like, oh, it's just
No.
like, I get it. Like, if a chick did it to a guy, I think it'd be completely different because, we're just fucking.
Nah. Don't judge me for my body. Ugh, please buy me a
Take
drink
me for a
first.
fucking drink first, please,
I know,
you
fuck's
animal.
sake.
But
Have some decorum.
have some fucking. What do
I'll
you
do
think
it.
I am?
I'll do it, but have some decorum.
I want you to apologise after we do it tonight because I'm fucking offended.
Oh god.
But 100%, you've got to have that, level of like EQ to be able to understand. Well, like, we're at a 0.
Yeah.
Let's escalate it to a 1 or 2. Let's feel it out what kind of chemistry we have and build on that level of chemistry.
Yeah.
Because
I
also it's like
suppose-
everyone's different. You're going to have a different type of conversation with everyone. So you also want to feel them out to see how they like flirt, how they build sexual chemistry, what kind of way do they do it? Because it's going to be completely different with everyone.
Yeah, I suppose with this guy, we were just talking about normal stuff, and he seemed interested in my day-to-day life and
Don't they
everything
all?
I was doing.
Can you grab the thing after as well?
Yeah.
But then, yeah, it just kind of became sexual, and it felt natural. Whereas, yeah, it wasn't just the like, I want to bend you over your couch,
Yeah.
Well, from that note, we should make sure that what we're saying and what we're doing in these DMs is, I guess, thought through and not be looking like absolute creeps.
Yeah,
Innit?
For guys and for girls.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, girls as well.
Yeah,
Please
yeah.
don't slide in my DMs
Please,
and say inappropriate things.
Yeah.
Well, you can slide
And if
into
you
my
do-
DMs and say that, but I'd probably be rolling my eyes and screenshotting it and sending it to 8 other people.
Yeah, that's so funny.
I will accept that screenshot.
I will accept those screenshots as well.
So what are we going to talk about next?
Well, Jess has got the manifest of conversation. She's a very organised human
So
being.
we have introducing people that you've hooked up with to your mates.
Ah.
Sorry, no, it's the reverse. It's like if somebody you know wants to hook up with somebody that you've hooked up with.
Okay.
What's the
Wait, okay. Can you say that again?
Oh, so, okay, I get what you mean. So if
say
you've...
if I've hooked up with Dwayne,
Yeah.
hypothetically.
Hypothetically, if you had, in a hypothetical situation, potentially had slept with him, definitely. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, no worries.
And what if Dwayne's friends wanted to hook up with me or vice versa, whatever?
Yeah.
What's acceptable?
What's the time frame that it's been since it's happened? Hypothetically.
I think
I don't think it.
I think
it
time.
matters.
I don't think that the time frame's the issue. I think it's
Feelings.
the feelings that you had whenever you were hooking up or were seeing each other. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, because I've had this happen really well in my life. Like, I was having a Boxing Day party, and one of my girlfriends was there, and one of my really, really old guy friends was there that I've slept with like 148 times, like 8 years
That's
ago.
a lot.
And we're still really good mates. And they were both drinking and blah, blah, blah. And Billy, the guy, came to me and was like, you know, I like your friend. I think she's cool. Would you mind? And I was like, absolutely not. Go for gold. And she said the same thing to me. And I was like, perfect. Go for it. You know what I mean? And I think that's super respectful. They both came to me, checked. That's it. But there's some guys, there's like probably probably two guys in my life that if anyone came to me and said, can I hook up with them? I'd be like,
No
I will
way,
cut
no.
you.
Yeah.
Or if they did it, I would kill them. You know what I mean? But I think it's the respect
Hypothetically,
thing.
by the way, she's not killing anyone.
Hypothetically.
Don't want you to go to jail.
I think it's
You maybe have
the
like a bit of
respect thing.
a bit of a chat. Like, hey, is that like, or is that what you're getting at?
No, as in like there's certain guys that she slept with that it's literally a no-go. There's no
Right,
chat. It's
okay.
like, no. Like a no. But I totally agree with that. I don't think time is the issue. I don't think it's the amount of time you're sleeping with them or the time in between when you did sleep with them. I do think it's that emotional connection that you had with that person. There's people that you would have slept with that was probably completely physical. So if one of your friends is like, oh, can I hit? Like 100%.
Yeah.
But then there's probably someone you would have slept with maybe for a couple of months, but you had that intense emotional
Yeah.
connection. So it's like a complete no-go, I think.
Yeah.
I think regardless, bottom line, you go and ask the person.
100%.
Doesn't matter if you think they didn't have a connection or whatever, you always go and ask the friend. Because the friend is what matters most.
Yeah.
So you just do them that due respect.
100%.
Go and check.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. And if they say no, sorry, you're out.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, 100%. I think it's just like, I think we live in a world where there's so many people and we can do so much with so many people, just having that like level of like respect for each other where that's the bare minimum, just making sure that it's all cool, everyone's on the same page. I don't think it's very difficult.
And it literally takes 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
2 seconds.
Yeah.
And that person has like a lot more, respect for you as well. They're like, oh, fair
Do you ever
play.
think there's like a level where it's like if they want to get with them and you kind of you don't really have a problem, but then there's like you're on 50-50. Do you think it's kind of there's so many other people out there, why are you going to go for that person?
I mean, they could have.
Or why are you interested in that person when there's like so many other like
But then that's just
people?
a no.
Well, no,
Yeah.
but they also could have like had a really good like connection with that person on a night
And
out.
it's
They
not
could
gone
have.
somewhere.
No, but if there was a potential, you'd then still speak to that person. I had a genuine connection with that person, so I'm just bringing it to you. And you're like, well, there's everyone else. Yeah, I get there's everyone else, but
Yeah.
I had a really good connection with that
Yeah, that's
person.
fair.
So I want to just bring that to you because, not everyone's the same. And you're going to have different chemistry with different people. So it's always worth saying it because it's so easy to say, well, there's so many other people. Yeah, but there is so many other people.
Yeah, I agree. I was just being devil's advocate.
But everyone's an individual.
I mean, one of the guys that I would say to my friends, like, never go near him. Like, we didn't actually, technically, we weren't together, but still, there's no way in hell I would let any of my friends go near him.
But like I saw this something quite interesting. Not that you mentioned that about we were never together. I saw something quite interesting on TikTok from a psychologist where she was saying how maybe you weren't together in reality, but if in your mind how you felt about them was a level of like such a high emotional connection and it felt as if you were together, even if in reality that wasn't the case. If you in your head like had that strong emotional
Not
strong
even
emotional
reality,
connection.
just labels.
Yeah. Like even if there was no label, if you in your mind emotionally felt as if you were with that person, then you are allowed to have those feelings after
my
it
case,
ends.
yes.
You're allowed to like get over that person. You're allowed to mourn that person. You're allowed to do whatever you need to do to, I guess, to get over it. Just because like the labels and society says that you weren't doesn't mean that from an emotional standpoint that you were not. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I think a lot of people, especially if they're dating and they haven't given themselves a label. So many people will end something with a person, whether a situationship or whatever, and they feel as if they're not allowed to mourn that experience because, oh my God, we were never a thing. We were just fucking. But it's just like, but you were a thing. Like you were sleeping with that person for this extended period of time. You had this emotional connection. I think it's so important for people to ensure that whenever they do end, even if the society tells you that you weren't, if you feel like you were, you should allow yourself
Yeah.
that time to.
And I had a massive struggle with the guy that I'm talking about in terms of that too, because there was no label on it, but he was
still a human being.
very,
You
Yeah.
still got,
very
like-
significant. So
Yeah.
now I still call him my best friend slash ex,
Yeah,
Yeah.
even though he was never technically an ex, you know.
Yeah.
that's what situationships are. aren't
even
they?
like
Just
a
fucking
situationship.
massive grey
But
area.
even a situationship, that's a disservice to that whole thing. Because it was,
To your thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
'cause
okay. It was like a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
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 So that's the thing.
Next
You're
level.
still allowed to have those kind of like emotions about it, even though it's not officially labelled. Even if it isn't labelled in like a specific, even if it isn't labelled it's authenticity. Even if it isn't labelled in like a specific way, you're still allowed to have those emotions because that's the point. You still have like those emotional connections. You still have a bond with that person, and regardless whether it's for something like they're actually officially dating or a situationship or an extended period of time of casual dating, you still spend so much there's so much like exposure with that time and so much one-on-one time with that person. You just bond with them. So yeah, you still can go through a period of like mourning. 100%.
100%.
Definitely.
Where do you like to blow your load?
Oh, great segue.
With Grace and Honor,
I've
mate.
got
If you
some
can't come in
science on
her,
this.
come on her.
You guys go, and then I'll bring in the science stats because this is a science podcast, right?
Yeah, we're all about science.
Oh,
I did biology in
Where
13.
do you like to blow?
where do I like to blow?
Inside.
In a
the
tissue?
battleship?
On his chest.
Yeah, just on my chest. On my chest. That's what I do.
Couldn't reach that
I
far, Dan.
actually feels just oozes out.
Just like a teardrop. Blah.
Why you keep doing this to me?
Blah. I mean, it's always nice to finish inside him.
Yep. Dwayne.
Not inside. I don't want to get. I'm not ready for
Do
being
you know what?
out
I'm
there.
going to go on record and say a lot of women actually like being come on. So that in
yeah.
itself is quite sexy, no?
That's
I do.
fair.
It definitely has its place. I'm not a big fan of like coming on someone's face.
Fair.
I
But
just-
like on the stomach. or
On the
bum,
stomach's
or
nice.
on the
I always
boobs.
because
Why
there's
you're gonna judge them once you do? It's like
No.
you're disgusting.
there's this moment of like there's this moment.
TikTok, take that.
Just
Yeah,
like,
there's-
oh, they're gonna get you now.
I can't believe you let me do that.
Yeah, I'm
Have
gonna look
some
at you the
self-
same. Oh,
You've got a mum and a dad. You're someone's daughter. Have some self-respect. No, it's can't wait for me to be absolutely riddled for
Fuck's
this.
sake.
Nah, it's because like afterwards, there's this moment of like, obviously, there's this, your serotonin boosts and it drops. There's this moment where I've done it. I'm like,
That's
oh,
literally what
that's
you're
actually
saying.
oh,
Baby.
what have I done? Oh, is it? Oh no, I shouldn't have done
Just if
that.
you did it in their face, or
Yeah, I'm just like, oh.
just each their own.
Yeah, a lot of women actually quite like it. And yeah, I'm going to go into the science stats for this
Okay.
Please.
and say, I know, I know we all hate condoms, blah, 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 blah.
I don't. I think they're fine.
But there's another reason why coming in a woman is bad.
It's messy.
And this is because, no, it's not messy. The pH level of a vagina
Yeah.
is meant to be 3.4 to 4.5.
Pythagoras theorem.
Shut up.
The pH level of sperm or cum is 8, and the pH level of water is 7. And you can tell by these very simple numbers
I think mine's hitting a
that if you're
9.5.
putting a pH level of 7.2 to 8 in a pH level of 3.4, you're gonna mess that shit up.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's bare.
That's a lot.
And it's not like this is beyond the pregnancy stuff and the STIs, but putting cum in somebody, especially without asking, is dirty. Because
Always ask. Always ask. The thing is, right, even if you're in bed with someone, I think it's like you give warning signs that it's like, by the way, I'm about to finish, and it's like, we're about to head up a one-way street. Let me know if you want me to turn off. Like, there are definitely warning signs that people give, and I'd be very vocal then, and be like, where is it you
You actually asked the question.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. Because like I've done it before. Where back in the day, I haven't, and I just thought it'd be okay. Like we've all been there.
Yeah.
But like definitely in my adult life, the more mature side of me is always very much because I don't want to have that where it's like, what the fuck? I don't want to cause any kind of drama. And 100%.
What do you do for guys who don't ask?
I've got a story about this.
Yeah, like what would you say to that?
Guys that don't ask. I always say, if they don't ask, I always say, don't come in me. I'm not on the pill.
Yeah.
But also, I don't want it to happen because I hate to bring the T word into it, but thrush.
What's
Thrush.
Yeah.
Like that's like
Not ideal.
and vaginas. It's just
Yeah.
like because your body's not used to it, right?
Yeah.
So and that's horrible. That's a whole other like.
I think it should be said the
antibiotics or
moment you,
whatever.
you have sex without a condom, someone's going to say, by the way, you know, don't finish in me because if we're going to have unprotected sex.
But this is the
But
thing.
what if the girl doesn't say?
Well, okay, this is the whole debate I was having, right? And I'm more than happy to say this publicly. Oh, TikTok is going to get taken down. Is that I think it's both parties' responsibility to say, by the way, seeing as we're having unprotected sex, I'm not on anything. This is on the context of that person's not on anything. Where am I? Should I not come inside of you? She'd then
Okay.
be like, don't. I get it, it's both person's responsibility, and it is. I'm not saying it isn't, but I don't understand where if someone's not on the pill and she's agreed to have unprotected sex, why it wouldn't be on the forefront of her mind to say, by the way, don't finish inside of me. I'm
But
not
should
on
it
the
not
pill.
be on the forefront of the guy's mind as well?
Should
I'm
be
not.
on the forefront of both minds.
It should. It's both person's responsibility, but I'm also not the one who could potentially carry around a kid for 9 months. So for me, I'm like that would scare me more as a woman, being like, well, this is gonna be my
The
responsibility.
thrush scares me enough.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying purely for the reason of getting pregnant. I'm like, I feel, and you know, correct me if I'm wrong, that it would be on the forefront of your mind more the fact that you're going to be the one dealing with the ramifications of getting pregnant. I'm not saying it's not either party's
No, it'd be on the forefront.
responsibility.
It's on the forefront of my mind every time.
But does that make sense? Like, do you
Totally.
get?
And I had this jackass reply to a comment about, like, I was talking about the pH levels, and he was like, "Yes, still won't stop me from blowing in it though."
Yeah, that's just fucking.
Yeah, but it's just like, do you realize this 3 seconds of pleasure for you
Yeah,
can
causes
cost this
like
woman, okay, $40, but also a month of like
discomfort.
discomfort
yeah.
around her period and also thrush.
Yeah.
Like, how selfish is that?
Yeah, I just think if that's a situation that you're in where you're sleeping with a girl and the guy's not using a condom or whatever, I think if there's ever any doubt in your mind as a guy whether you're allowed to come inside her, then you just don't do it. Like if no one says anything, like if there's no communication about don't do it or do it, if there is none, you just pull out.
Yeah.
Like straight away. Like I feel like that's an easy one.
If no one says it, pull out. If you want to, just say it. Be like, oh, where is it? That's Just say it. Just ask.
I have a story around this actually where I was seeing a guy over the period of about a year and a half, and he always came inside me even though I asked him not to. And
That's fucking scummy.
afterwards I said, "Did you seriously do that?" And he would be like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have a baby," which
Oh,
for a whole
that's-
plethora.
You know that's the thing where people like their kink is the scare of potentially being pregnant. And having a
whole
child.
plethora of reasons, read between the lines, that would not have been good for him
So if he
I
kept
popped
doing
out
that-
with a black baby.
Yes.
But
Black Lives Matter.
I was talking to a guy friend of mine about this, and he's like, you know, whatever happened with him, because you were doing this thing for like a year and a half. I know you're really like quite fond of him despite the circumstances. And I was like, okay, there's this reason, this reason, this reason. And the fourth reason was we had sex, and every time we had sex, he would blow in me, even though I specifically said not to.
Why'd you
Okay,
keep
but
shagging-
why do you keep
why'd you keep shagging him?
having sex with him?
But the guy was even like, just stop.
Yeah.
These other 3 matters don't matter. Like, these other 3 issues don't even matter. You could have said that fourth issue first. That's disgusting. It's immoral. It's the wrong thing to do. And the fact that you asked him repetitively and he
Yeah,
kept
that's,
doing it.
that's a bit creepy.
No, but why'd you keep doing
Yeah,
it?
why'd you keep shagging
Yeah, I
him?
don't know. That's my fault.
I bet you the sex was good.
The dick
The
was
sex,
like,
the sex
dick
was
was
You
really
got
good.
dickmatized. You're just like
she'd be like, oh.
once women get dickmatized, the amount of things that they let men do.
French black man. Shout out.
She'd be like, I'm bloody annoyed at you, and I'm going to tell you off next time. You are a cheeky bastard.
True though. But to be fair though, I have so many like female friends who have gone back to absolute dickheads, and I'm just like, why do you keep doing this? Like the sex is good.
I
I'm like,
believed he wouldn't.
you just.
I just
You're just laying. You made in your bed and you're lying in it. Like he's
he
a
also-
dick. But
Huh?
oh my
He
lord!
also...
Oh!
I'm gonna turn that bit up.
You did it, no!
So So you'd think that he would not do that.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Oh, yeah, that.
So funny.
Oh, Jess.
We're gonna have to put big subtitles on that bit as well, and we'll just replay that a few times when it comes up.
Oh, my goodness.
Rest in peace, Jess.
Jesus, take the
Oh my
wheel.
god, that is so funny.
Shout out to you. You absolutely disgraceful.
There is a church just outside your apartment.
There's a
We
Greek
could-
I know.
Orthodox
Yeah,
church
we-
that you
we
can
can-
attend tomorrow.
We can just go. We can just go tomorrow.
I've been bargaining with God a lot.
Oh my god, that is so.
But
funny.
no, I
Throwing
do
it.
think if that conversation isn't had, you shouldn't be doing it like at
Several
all.
times I had that conversation.
Preach the game. Don't play the game.
Oh my lord! How was the sex drive between you two?
Between me and
be-
that
yeah.
particular guy. Oh, it was...
Because that kind of goes on to like what we want to talk about next.
Uh,
Like, did you say
Was it
your
like a
your
matching-
libido wasn't like on the same level, or did you want more? Did he want less?
no, it was amazing. And
Just leave it
part of
there. That's it. It was amazing.
the part of the... Oh, this requires me to go into the whole thing. But part of the reason that it was so amazing is because we were... I don't think this term is used very often, but
was
we were lovers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
It was like taboo.
it wasn't a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, we cared deeply for each other. I didn't see him, like I maybe saw him once every week or fortnight. It was just for that. Like we
Because you
talked.
shouldn't have been doing it.
No,
Yeah. It's a
kind
bit
of
more.
intense.
Is it a bit more naughty?
We did care about each other, but
No,
it
no, I
was
mean
just-
because like he had another life.
no. But the thing is, I didn't give a shit about that, and I was never going to interrupt that.
Mm.
But like when he left,
Yeah.
that was his life, my life.
Yeah.
But when we spent the time together, it was
Intense.
us.
It sounds
Yeah.
like just intense chemistry.
Yeah, and that's what I would describe as lovers, which I don't think I don't
Yeah.
think we use that in 2020.
You know what I find? I find whenever there is a level of understanding, it's just me leaning forward.
Yeah.
I find when there's a level of understanding where what we have is not going to be any more than what it is.
That's exactly what I
like
have
the
with
What?
like
What?
the
You said-
when there's a level of understanding between you and your sexual partner that this is all it's going to be, and we're going to make it as exciting and as fun as it can be. That makes the sex so much better.
Yeah, because you bring the honest, because
Yeah.
you're honest, and
Yeah.
then it doesn't close doors, it opens doors.
Yeah, it really does. Like I think when, especially because if you know there's an ending, there will be an ending at some stage. Like I've had this before, where I was like sleeping with this girl, and we both understood that there's going to be an ending at some point because I was going to be going away or whatever. That it was just so exciting because like we're just going to make the most of the time that we have. So then everything was intense. The conversation was intense.
Yeah.
The bedroom was intense. Like it was all great because we knew it was in. And I feel like that is like can be a good or bad thing
Was this on the farm?
on the farm.
Was this farm work? Because I thought,
the
because
watermelon
I had
farm.
like, you know, like on
Oh,
farm
right.
work-
No, I wasn't farm.
Oh,
By
right,
the
yeah,
way,
yeah.
congratulations on your 5 years in Australia. I'm so
Oh, yes,
pleased that
thank
you're
you very
here for
much.
it.
I also passed my citizenship test. Let's-
After the fourth try.
After the
Big
fourth,
part of us
After the
today.
fourth
after
try.
the fourth try. Yeah.
But yeah, like the sexual chemistry between us was, it was great.
I was gonna say with what you were saying because that's the reason why I thought it was farm work because it's like you have like a short period. Everyone has like a farm work fling, so people in like who come from England they do farm work,
Yeah.
Mm.
and you end up sleeping with someone, but it's very intense because you know you're only going to be there for like 3 months,
Fun.
Mm.
and
I
then
love
you're like,
this.
I'm
I
now
wanna do
going
farm
off
work.
traveling again, so let's just enjoy this like small time we have, maximize the pleasure, and it's
Mm.
super intense.
I think there needs
And then,
to be
like, you
more
leave.
of this in like in general.
Well,
life.
unless there's an end date, but that's the point. That's why it's because
This
you
is-
know there's an end date.
But
Like
this is
living
why
just in
the
bond.
lover thing needs to come back. Nobody does the lover thing.
Well, that's like holiday flings. You can get
Yeah.
that with holiday fling, but just living day to day life. Some lad who lives down the road, you're like, well, you're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. There's no end date to it.
I
so
had
it doesn't-
I had a mad experience like that when I was in Thailand. For you.
yeah?
If someone was to ask me what's like the best date I've ever been on, this would be it.
Go on.
So I was in Thailand and I had met this girl on Koh Tao for the first time. Koh Tao, very casually.
Love at first sight.
Wasn't anything exciting. We chatted away or whatever. And then we ended up bumping into each other on another island. Kissed and whatever. Didn't sleep with each other. We exchanged each other's like numbers on WhatsApp, and then I went to Koh Phi Phi, and then she was on another island with her friend, and we just kept in contact with each other very sporadically over our travels through Thailand. And she was like, I'm at this island, which was an island away from Koh Phi Phi, and I was making my way from Koh Phi Phi up to Chiang Mai and Pai, which is the north of Thailand. I was like, oh, well, I'm leaving CoPP in 2 days and I'm going to so-and-so island, which by chance is the one she was on. I was like, oh, I'm going to be here on this date. She's like, oh, no, all my friends are leaving on the day before. Or, sorry, that same day. So I was just like, oh, shit. But she's like, no, I'll stay. So she literally
Oh,
stayed.
that's so good. Yeah, I like this.
She stayed on this island on her own. Well, obviously she met people there as well, but she stayed on this island on her own. And as I was late getting on the boat to like go to this island, her friends were getting off that same boat to come in on the Pico PP, and I like waved at them and was like, "You're gonna see Darcy. You're gonna see Darcy." And I was like, "Yeah, I am." And then we like swapped over, got in the boat, got to this island, and then it was just like me and her hanging out, getting like those mopeds,
Just hanging out.
just hanging out,
Holiday romance.
right, riding through like the island, going to this night market,
Yeah.
like going for dinner, like spending the same
That's
like
nice.
night, and I was just like, this is proper romantic.
It's
isn't
like
it?
love it. It's like it is. It's like that like
It's not something
exciting
you do in
holiday.
normal life.
And that's not something you do in normal life. Even just the idea of like her like staying there, getting her friends to leave, and then her waiting for me, and then
That's
we
cool.
spent like what 2 or 3 days together, and then like I left to go. She left like 3 days later in the morning to go off to CoPP to meet her friends, and then that afternoon I left to go to the north of Thailand, and then obviously didn't see each other for the rest of our time in Thailand. But then she was in Sydney, and then we met up and stuff. Like in Sydney, we're just like, oh, nice to see you. Like it's just weird, but like that would be like the best ever. Like
Is she in Sydney?
not anymore, but she
fair.
was when in my first year.
I like that.
But like that kind of like experience where you know there's an ending, so you make it as like exciting and as fun as you possibly can.
What's her name?
Darcy.
Darcy, if you're out there and
Nice
listening,
name.
he
I
still
love
just
that
goes
name.
on about you all the time. He's not forgotten. He's not forgotten.
I'll never forget.
I want to change my name to Darcy. What
It is a nice name, Darcy. To be fair.
Oh.
But yeah, we were touching on like libidos and
Yeah.
and matching
So-
sex drives.
Yeah.
So I made a comment.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that went 5-0.
Yeah, we've got like 920,000 views on this video. And
I
I
have
was
things
like,
to say about
Jesus.
that. What did you say?
So I basically said that the person with the lowest sex drive in a relationship has final veto power. They're basically going to decide when you can't have sex. Now, not only do you need to be okay with that, but you need to be okay with not having as much sex as you want and still being comfortable with being completely monogamous at the same time. And I said that with that kind of lack of communication, that's where
Oh,
relationships
the
can
video
become,
didn't go that far, but
that's
yeah.
where relationships can become quite stale. I did say that
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
video.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
where they can become quite stale. And a lot of people came back saying, so as a man, I was like, whoa, no. I didn't say just men feel like this. I said in relationships, the person with the lower drive has final veto. And it's true. If you're in a relationship, you've got a low drive. If you don't want to fuck, we're not fucking tonight. And that is just how it is. And so I'm like, that's where it can, for me, I feel, and I know from like my previous relationship, we had different libidos and it was an issue. Like
Yeah,
it
of
was.
course.
So what's your
But
opinion
no,
on
but at the start of that relationship, were you having like a lot of sex though?
No, I don't know. I can't really remember. It was so long ago, but I know that it was always like a bit of an issue.
I think, like I said, when we talked about it, I think libido's fluid. Like, you're never going to always have a high sex drive. You're never always going to have a lower sex drive. Like, you can't say, like, every single day and every single hour of the day you want to have sex. I think whenever a libido is high, there's reasons for that I would make it high. And whenever it's low, there's reasons for that.
But some people, and this is from just some experience, some people know if they have a high drive.
Yeah.
Some
and
people know if they
are
have a low
asexual.
sex. Yeah, so in that situation, if someone goes, by the way, I do have a low sex drive, and you do have a high sex drive, do you think that that's an issue?
So, okay, so I have this thing that I do with clients, and it's called the list. And everybody knows, you know, like you write a list of your ideal partner, like they look like this, blah 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 blah. But the list template that I created is a bit more detailed, and what it includes on it is sexual compatibility and how high or low your libido is, or how often you would like to have sex. Are you like a twice a day sex person, or are you once a week? Because I think it really matters.
Yeah.
And I have a really big example from my own personal life of where this has really gone wrong and how much it hurts on the other side if you get it wrong. But I do believe that matching your sexual compatibility with somebody, like as much as you can, like is really important.
We'll say that again just for the people in the back.
It's really important to match your sexual compatibility
Yeah.
with somebody that you you're interested in.
I think it can create, and like I said, look, we're not talking about having like going through ebbs and flows because that's just normal. But when people know that they do have a low sex drive or they know they do have a high sex drive, I think it's one of those. That's a level of compatibility.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
Like,
like-
let's be honest. Like I'm not having sex with fuck it. Like I probably have sex with that bookcase. That's about it. Like I'm
Is
not
that what you
having-
do
I'm
when we
not-
came in?
Exactly. Not having sex with anybody right now, but I would still
Yeah.
consider myself to have a high sex drive, and if I had the chance, I would have sex twice a day, and that's what I know about myself. So you know those things, and you match with somebody that's going to be around that same sort of compatibility.
But also though, if you were to start in a relationship and this, say if it's a long term relationship and at the start the libidos were quote unquote matched, like yeah, we're both like wanting to do it 2 or 3 times a day, amazing, and then in 5 6 years there's one person on one side who always wants it more than the other, and now the thought is that, oh my god, my libido is way higher than my partner's. I can't believe I've like got into a relationship with someone whose libido is like lower than mine. Surely there has to be a point where you think, okay, let me look at this from a holistic point of view. What about our lives now could actually potentially make my partner's libido lower than mine? Have I been a dickhead for the past 2 years?
Yeah.
And now
Yeah,
every
of
time she
course.
looks at me, she thinks
100%.
that she's not turned
And
on.
it's all
Am I actually as good in
context.
bed as I think I am? And now I just don't turn her on because all I want to do is missionary.
It's
Like,
all context.
it's all context.
And self-awareness, and also like if you like, I know also if I'm stressed, the first thing that I to go is
Yeah.
like that sense of sexuality. You just
100%.
forget about it.
I think that what's really interesting is that when that comment's made, people are like, sex isn't everything. But like, cool.
No, it's not.
But no,
But-
I'd say
it's-
cool.
it's a lot
But
of it.
let's take out sex, right? And let's go cool. Let's take out sexual compatibility and emotional compatibility. 3 years down in your relationship, my emotional compatibility isn't being matched to my partner anymore. Do you just say that's okay? People go, no, that's right. So why can't sex be seen as
I
just
agree.
as important
Oh,
as
yeah, I agree.
emotional compatibility or like intellectual compatibility? I think people just see it because it's sex. It's like, it's just sex, get over it. It's like, no. You're just seeing it as like a lower standpoint compared to all the other main pillars of a relationship. It's just as important to be
Because of the
held up at
people
the
have an
same esteem
unhealthy
as
relationship with sex.
I
as that
agree,
100%. It's just as important. It's a main pillar, like with all the others.
For as much as I am wordy and I'm a writer and I'm quite communicative, a lot of the times in relationships I have problems speaking to my partner. And I've had a psychologist say to me, Jess, fuck, then talk. Like, because sex is a language in itself. You know,
It brings
so,
like a level of comfortability.
yeah,
if
and,
you do it with your
and
partner.
sometimes the things that you can't say in words, you can say with your body. So sexual compatibility is just as important as emotional compatibility.
100%. I think people need to start giving it the same kind of value as everything else, because if you're in a relationship for 5 years, regardless whether it's sex or intelligence or emotion, if it's not being matched, it's not being matched, and that's it. And it doesn't mean you just need to call it, but it means that something needs to be addressed. You
And if
need
it's-
to have a conversation. You need to communicate, figure out what's going wrong. Can
If
it be
it's
fixed?
not important, then why do we always jump to the benchmark of, well, if you're not having sex, there's a problem in
just
your
mates.
relationship?
Yeah,
You're just mates.
If it's not important, then
Or if the sex is shit, then you're not gonna like keep sleeping with that person as
Yeah.
well.
so if it's not important, then why do we say that?
Yeah.
I think like based on like the comments and stuff, like a lot of people didn't really get where you were coming from. And as I said to you before, it's not even like a lot of times it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Like people literally listen to it and then they're seeing it through like blurred mirrors or
so
tunnel
many people
vision.
actually saw that. Like that was a very mixed group, to be fair.
Yeah, it
Like,
was
there
it was
a
mixed.
lot
Like a lot of people agreed with it, and a lot of people didn't. But I think, like a lot of the times when it comes to those comments on TikTok, people are again just hearing what you're saying and just basing it completely off their own experiences and don't take it into consideration. Because at the end of the day, not many people in this world actually do a lot of work on themselves and try to understand themselves and why they feel the way they do or why they do the things they do. So if they're not doing that and they see comments like that, they will just instantly judge that video based off their own experience. But they're not thinking, oh wait, like I wonder what some of my friends have experienced
Yeah.
when it comes to libido or an open relationship or what so and so is like, no one, they're not doing that. They're just thinking, well, I had this bad experience with my ex, and so like
Yeah.
now that you said that, you're a piece of shit. Like that's not
some,
how it works.
Some people also were like, "Oh, I don't agree. I've been in a relationship with my partner for a couple of years, and he doesn't want to have sex as much as me anymore. And yeah, like it makes me upset, but you know, I'm not just going to throw it away." And I'm like,
But that's
that
cool.
whole
Good for you.
like. But it's like that whole statement is like you've just come at this with just your own experience and the fact that you're okay settling for not having all your needs
So
met.
I-
That doesn't mean
Everyone
everyone has
else,
to
yeah,
say
I
yeah.
had this experience with
not-
one of my exes, and I thought I would marry him. I loved him, but we stopped having sex. I think it was like 6 or 8 months. Yeah, for 6 or 8 months, and it
You just become
tore
mates.
me apart.
Yeah.
Like it ruined me. But I loved him. Like he was.
And it's too hard to
He's
throw
a
it away.
beautiful guy, and he's still an amazing guy.
Yeah.
But it fucked me up so badly. So
It really damages like your ego, I think, a little bit as well.
yeah, so sexual compatibility for me is important. It might not be important for those people that are settling. Cool.
Yeah. 100%.
It was not okay for me.
At the end of the day, it's just key to communicate your expectations, what you want and need.
Well, someone was like, I communicate, but it just doesn't change anything. But I'm still not going to throw it away. I'm
Then
like,
outsource.
well,
Don't-
clear.
don't do that.
Jokes, we're joking. Do not
Kidding.
outsource. Do not outsource.
Definitely. Not.
But yeah, that was like, I think it is important to understand your partner's experience. So if your libido does seem to be dwindling, or if your partner's libido seems to be dwindling, especially if you've been with each other for an extended period of time and you notice a change in kind of the experience with them, I think it's so important to learn to understand why that could be. I don't think it's good enough to think my partner's libido is not as high as mine. What the fuck's going on? It's like, okay, is she stressed at work or is he stressed at work? Have I been this? Have I been that? Like, I think it's so important to kind of understand a lot more about your partner than just
100%.
like
Yeah.
looking at it through, again, tunnel vision or blurred mirrors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Blurred lines.
Blurred.
Whatever.
Bloodlines.
Just like a bit of indigestion from the margs.
You're amazing.
Lovely.
You're amazing.
Love.
But to finish
count.
off, the boy Detox had the pleasure of posting on her story for people to give some exciting one night stand
Ooh,
stories.
Just gonna give
juicy.
a couple of
Do you,
favorites.
Do either of you have any good one night
Oh,
stand
I've got,
stories?
you go first. I've got
Because I actually don't have anything that's worth telling.
Yeah, that's G. He actually doesn't.
I actually don't.
He doesn't have any weird stories. He doesn't.
I've
I
got
actually
plenty.
don't have any.
I've got some funny ones.
Sadly, mine always seem to go quite smoothly.
I've got
Sadly.
a few. I've actually written them here. in
No,
my
I didn't.
notes.
Yeah, smoothly.
Yeah,
but
like
sadly
sadly go quite
smoothly. Yeah,
smoothly, yeah.
I've got way
Yeah.
too many.
Why can't none of them just be fucking nutcases?
Because I choose wisely.
Fucks. Damn me for choosing wisely. I'll let you go first for this, Jess.
Oh, I don't know where to go. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the cricketer, right?
The cricketer. Is the fact that he's a cricketer important to the story?
Does he actually play
It's just a
cricket, or is that just a nickname?
Is that a
And he's
nickname?
actually quite big. Now.
No way.
Yeah,
You go for
he
big
plays-
guys? I've never heard that
No,
before.
like
Does he play for the West Indies?
No, he plays for New South Wales.
Is he 7'9"?
6'7".
Oh my god, you're like 4 foot.
Oh, no.
How does
Okay,
this
sorry.
even? How does this
Continue.
even
But
work?
anyway, so we match blah
Same
blah
height,
blah
land
blah
down.
chat. He's one of the ones that did big talk, right?
Oh God.
Big talk. So I was traveling a lot, and he was traveling a lot for cricket, and we eventually finally met up. This is at my old apartment in Waterloo. We went for a drink, came back to my house. We're watching TV on this very couch,
Amazing.
and
I can tell by the warmth.
then he pulled me on top of him, picked me up, and carried me up the stairs, super hot. And so we got into bed, did the thing.
Did
Do the thing. What are you,
did the
12?
thing. Sorry. What's the thing?
You had sex.
We had
You
sex.
had the sex.
We had
Coitus.
sex.
She had
Number
coitus.
one, he was shaved. Everything was shaved.
Like clean shaven or like trimmed?
A clean shaven.
Oh,
Is that
bloody hell,
bad?
That is like that's
Or you're not a
commitment.
fan?
It was a bit weird.
Too
That's
smooth.
commitment. It's like a baby.
Like have some.
Like a bit of a yeah. I don't clean.
Do you
I
mean
trim-
like his legs and everything was shaved?
No,
or just all
around the
there?
pube- the
Okay.
pubes area.
Okay.
everything.
I trim. I don't clean shave. That's like. That's a
So
bit.
that was the first thing. So okay, we can get past that. The second thing was
Both
he
matching.
was completely silent.
Oh no.
Completely silent. And he talked big game. He
You never
talked
talk big game. Never talk big game.
Never talk big game.
Never
Just
talk.
Don't do it. He
Move in
talked
silence.
big game, and then when I kind of said to him like,
Are you
"Does
enjoying
that feel
this?
good?"
Yeah.
He was like, "Sex not a time for conversation," and shamed me for it. And then he wanted to
Quit making
stay
that
over,
noise.
which I don't really do. He wanted to stay over. Fine, he had to go to training in the morning. And when I went down, I took him downstairs. He left. Then I went to like grab my bag and go and get a coffee. And I couldn't find I was like, "Where's my bag? Where's my wallet?" Bag was missing. It's like a Louis Vuitton tote. Bag was missing, and I realised that he had left the side door of my Waterloo apartment across the road from the Housing Commission open.
What?
So someone had come in and taken my Louis Vuitton bag
Shut your mouth.
and my wallet.
Whilst you were asleep with this fella.
Walked in while I was asleep with him.
That's
So
fucking
he left.
weird.
I had to call the cops, but wait for it. It gets better.
He didn't
Call
steal
the
it?
cop. No, he didn't steal it. He didn't steal it. I walked him out. I had to call the cops. Cops came in, questioning me, everything, and they were like, "Okay, so like run me through the whole thing, like what happened." And I was
Everything.
like, "I was with a friend watching TV, and then we went upstairs to go to
We
sleep."
started in doggy, and then we went.
And then they were like, "Okay, so if we need to contact this friend, what's his name?" And I was like,
Cricket.
"His first name is
Mr. Cricket.
Max.
Cricket? Last
his
name?
first name is Max." And they were like, "Okay, what's his phone number?" And I was like, "I only have his Instagram." And it was a girl and a guy, and I was like, "I'm
love
fucking mortified."
That's hilarious.
Like, not only have I lost a $3,000 bag that I
That's so shit.
loved, it was shit sex, and he was a dud. Like,
As if he was talking a big game.
As
bless
if
him.
someone's like,
big.
sex isn't for talk. I don't know how I'd react at that point. I'd be like,
I was that.
huh?
I'll just shut my mouth then.
I was just angry.
Was there any eye contact?
I don't think so. It was very much poundy.
Oh.
Sounds underwhelming.
I was just, but I was disappointed because of the big game talk,
Yeah, just
And he
never have
was
big game
sexy.
talk. Never have
yeah.
big game. What do you say? He was sexy?
He was sexy, yeah, for sure. But
You win some, you lose some, as long as the outcome's income, innit?
Yeah, but then you don't want to lose your Louis Vuitton bag as well and get shamed by the police.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah. That is
That's an expensive fucking one night stand.
That's, yeah, not for me. What about you, Daniel?
There's a lot of like
Shout out to
dodgy
people.
ones. I'm trying to think of the one that's going to get me in the least trouble.
Okay.
I was traveling the East Coast, and look, we've all been there, but this was like super embarrassing for me at the time. I was like 21, 22. You're a walking, talking hard on at that point, and I was just like,
You're in the East Coast at 22. You've only been here 4 years.
no, but I travelled Australia before.
Oh,
I came back from my
before.
second
Oh,
year.
yes. Oh, yes, you did. You did.
And anyway, so I was traveling the East Coast, and I ended up sleeping with this person, and then their like friend they were traveling with, we ended up like there was a connection there, and I wanted to hook up with them. Anyway, they ended up like coming back to mine, and I remember we were in bed, and we were just like having a bit of foreplay, and like I went down on them, and then like reverse, and she was like, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that with you." And not that I minded, but it's just the way they said it. It cut like, how do you explain it? It cut
Well,
through.
they weren't doing reverse.
Yeah.
Reverse
They
what?
weren't giving you a
They
blowjob.
weren't giving me a blozzer.
Oh, okay,
And,
yeah,
and,
fair.
and the thing is, it's not that I'm bothered, but it cut through the atmosphere like a knife through butter. Suddenly, everything went silent. And I was like, this is just awkward. Because they acted really like, no, I'm not. I was like, oh.
I feel like it should be
okay.
reciprocal.
But no, but it's like they could have said it in a way that's like, it just, the way they said it was
prefer
like,
not to.
cut through it. Like, and I was
Not
like,
tonight,
wow, the
honey.
atmosphere's just been absolutely wrecked. And I was like, okay then. And so I think,
I'm sure you carried on.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a trooper through and
Yeah,
through. Anyway,
Power on through, my
she
friend.
basically got on top of me, and
Went for gold.
I remember I thumbed in. I felt so uncomfortable, like I didn't want to be there. I remember like thumbing in a semi basically, and I just came
What's
straight
thumbing in?
thumb, like you
As
push
in
it
you-
in with your
If
thumb
you've got a floppy
because
on,
it's not like fully
fully
hard.
hard, so you have to
Oh
like.
my
And I remember I
God.
thumbed in a floppy, and my knob must have been
Oh my
like,
God,
"Fuck this,
I've
I'm out of
never
it,"
heard that
Blech.
before.
and then I finished.
You guys just taught me something.
Yeah.
Thumbed in.
My knob was just like, "I'm getting out of here," Blech.
Oh, I hope
Fucking
that's
left.
never happened to
And you
me.
blew it in her without asking.
No, I didn't.
Did you blow?
No. Oh, look, I was 22 at the time. I was reading it. Fucking hell.
Did you blow
I did
though?
not, yeah, I did. In one pump, I literally pushed it in. She moved. Oh, listen to this. She moved. Oh, fuck. So. Oh, shit. I didn't. Oh, fucking hell.
That's funny.
It's so hot in here.
Oh god.
Can
I thumbed it in.
Oh,
I came in
shouldn't
one
be laughing
pump.
at that.
In one pump, it's like my knob was like, "This is too awkward. I'm getting out of here." And so I literally, she
It's on your
moved.
side.
She moved once. It came and it just fell out of her when she moved again. And she was like, What's going on?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm just really drunk." She's like, "Really? You haven't been drinking all night?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's very true." Anyway,
hilarious.
That's rare for you.
but the next day, she messaged me and was like, "That was really fun. Can we do it again?" And I was like, "Was it? Child, who's hurt you?" I was like, "Oh my god." Anyway, the next time was fine.
Oh, that's
But
funny.
I remember all my mates came in the room and I was like, they're like, "Oh," and she's like, "Oh, he's just, finished in one pump." And obviously, because I didn't want to look embarrassed, I was like, "Lads, can't fucking believe that. Can you?" But inside, I was dying. I was like, my
But
mojo.
She thought it was amazing. So who's
I
that's
paid for
funny.
her Uber home,
good man?
and then
You
the
must
next.
have done a good job going down
Well,
on her.
and then the next night she
man.
All that matters, really.
and then the next night she was like, "Let's do it again." And I was like, "Did you message the right guy? Did you mean to message me?"
I don't know
'Cause
what that means. It means you've got skills
I don't.
with a tongue.
Oh yeah.
He had a big
well,
beard
that's-
at this stage as well.
I had a huge beard.
A lot of.
Can I just give a shout out to two of the stories that I got from TBD around?
Oh yeah. Please do,
Go
because
on.
I haven't got any. I haven't got any
Go on,
stories.
here
So
we
a
go.
girl responded and said that she travelled for 40 minutes to meet a guy with anal beads in.
That's hot.
That's
And I
amazing.
just fucking
hot.
died laughing.
Did it
like,
feel
what
uncomfortable?
a legend.
No, it's meant
I
to feel
didn't, I
good.
didn't ask, but I just thought, what a legend. Like, what commitment.
For 140 minutes travel,
With anal beads in you.
warming up the.
I've never
And
had
whole-
anal beads
and-
inside of me, so I don't know what that's like.
I would. Well, we never thought you did.
When I messaged her to say, "You've just made my day," she said, "Yeah, I had a bag of sex toys too." And I'm like, "Of course you did, Queen.
I love that.
What a fucking legend." And then the other one, big shout out goes to a girl that went to a Halloween party dressed as Gladys Berkejalakan.
The
Pre-
New
Yeah,
South Wales
yeah,
Premier,
yeah.
the older one, the oldest.
To a Halloween
the last
party and had sex on the bonnet of a car. Another.
I know who that person
fucking
is.
Legend. Shout
you?
out.
I do know who that person is. I know who went dressed as that. I know what party that is, and I know who went dressed as that
Do
person.
I know the person?
The
No,
person
you
we were
don't.
talking about earlier.
Don't say her name. but
No,
you
no,
know.
no, we're not
yeah,
saying
okay,
name. Yeah,
okay.
because I seen it come up on Instagram, and I recognise that person dressed as that. I know that. That's so funny.
That's hilarious.
And then there was
Oh my
another
God.
one that had sex with her friend's 19-year-old brother. And then she went down in the morning and the mum gave her a hug and said, "It's all good, we're all family."
That's so fucking.
We're all
That would
human.
weird
That's
me
beautiful.
out. I'd
And we
be
are
like-
all human.
So the mum was all right with us sleeping
Yeah.
with us. That would creep me out so much.
What a fucking
Be
legend.
like, oh, that's a very comfortable mum. To be fair, it's a very comfortable mum.
But there were some great stories.
Have you ever slept with a mum before?
Yeah,
Have you?
yeah.
Nice.
She's like my age
I
though.
wonder if I've slept with
What?
a dad.
Oh, right.
29. I shared this
Oh,
other day,
yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah. Oh, I was thinking it's that
29-year-olds
person, yeah, yeah.
Have I slept-
no,
have
you
I
don't know
slept
who
with
that
a
is.
dad?
You don't
I
know who
love
No,
that
no,
is.
I
but I
like
remember you telling me
default
about
to
that
you.
person.
Have I slept with a dad? Don't think so.
Oh, what's the oldest person you've slept with?
Oh, probably like 76. I don't know.
No.
Old.
Actually, 70s.
Yeah, no, like 60-ish.
About 60, 70, 80. Around that like 60, 70, 80.
It's more the gap between your
Yeah,
age and their age than the actual
No, I
age.
slept with some older guys, but I don't know if I slept.
I think when I was 21, 22, I slept with a 55-year-old.
That's right, in the bathrooms, you told
In
me.
the bathroom of Maggie Island. Shout out Maggie Island. I did.
disgusting.
Yeah, some of the boys who they probably won't listen to this.
I've
but
slept with an older woman.
Mm.
She would have been a mum. I've slept with a mum. There you go.
No, there we go.
you
High
go.
five.
I love that.
There we go.
Right. Well,
I think we've got some margs to drink. This is getting way too rogue.
I'm a little bit
right,
boozy.
okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for sitting down with us today. Subject to change with the boy Detox. The boy Detox, please give everyone your details and how they can contact you and how they can follow the new dating app Out There Dating.
At The Boy Detox on Instagram. Also, www.theboydetox.com for my website.
Get on our email list as well.
Yeah, email list. And you can also book 15-minute discovery calls with me at the moment for free. I know I might sound a little bit intoxicated right now, but I do give good advice generally.
She's definitely helped me through many difficult situations. 100%.
Exactly.
She should actually send Dan an invoice.
Yeah,
And,
no, he's got an invoice for about $12,000.
Legit.
And otherwise, please download Out There. It's coming to Sydney very soon. Otherwise, if you're in Melbourne, then you get on it very, very quickly. And that is at Out There Dating on Instagram.
And in the theme of our podcast, please remember, guys, with grace and honour, if you can't come in her, come on her.
Please. Remember the pH levels.
We never said that. Goodbye, everyone.
Peace and love. Stay safe. Happy weekend.